This is kind of going to be just like a little epilogue. So obviously after the shootout, some will call it the battle in Venice. It's not Venice, it happened in Rome, in the deep Vatican City. But obviously romanticized across the globe. Obviously after the shootout, obviously I'm one of the only living people in that whole auditorium. All these people were meeting, the people who supported, worked in the governments, all the way high ups, whatever, met for years and had beliefs and tried to realize a world. Obviously, I put a big log in the spoke of their covered wagon to get there, I guess. To quote the antiquated values of what they wanted. But obviously, the world responded to that beacon I set off when I started getting, bombarded with all sorts of small arms fire. Because I just had, a decent handgun. I was being, shot at with other handguns, semi-autos, autos, all that, all sorts of it. And obviously I had to take cover and hide under pews and to survive all that. And all the world's, special ops came and made quick work of all the others. But they obviously were checking and they saw that I was alive. And at that point, an American, intelligence operative, said, "We're going to get you out of here. It's not going to be easy. We're going to get you out of here. We need you to disappear for a while. We will have further instruction, Mr. Wagner." So what happens is they say, "Get in that coffin." Obviously, what they're trying to do is they're trying to create a distraction. It's basically a glorified, body bag. They're carrying out other people who were killed. First, they're going to obviously take out the American servicemen, the French, the British, the Canadian, a few Russian, anybody who, and the German special ops had fallen, anybody who was obviously fighting who lost their life. During that, they're taking them out in body bags, sadly. And they obviously want to smuggle me out in one too, because they don't want, a lot of, people in normal life and who obviously saved the world from having a nuclear war, but also was, there when a lot of government people were killed, but also going to be posthumously revealed to be part of this big, extreme right-wing religious thing. So, obviously, I'm, scurried off in that body bag, and no issues. We get to an air base where there's 25, Blackhawks that are obviously designed to be stealth, and all those are going to be carrying, me and one of them. They're all going to travel, and obviously there's crowds because nobody ever really sees that many American helicopters and planes and, all sorts of military stuff. Like I said, all the basically pretty much previously Allied powers and Germany post World War II. So there people are watching, and what happens is the forces fire flashbangs and gas canisters when everything takes off, because keeping me alive is probably in the world's best interest after what I've done. But also it's probably still complicated, because when it's revealed that some world leaders and intelligence operatives high up in these governments were in on what Sims, Rainier, and all of them wanted, you're obviously going to have a big issue with potential, instability. Even in America, you're going to probably have a lot of people who would agree with me and even be to the further left of me, obviously wanting a civil war. There's going to be a lot of issues going forward. So I am, obviously flown off, and I land in this, base in Nepal and in the mountains, and there I am obviously kept with a mask over my head, and there's a bunch of world leaders who are in a panel and they're going to talk to you, which obviously want to mask me and they also don't want me to see them, all that. And because if they see me, this in the rare case that some of them might have still been in on that, they don't want them to know who I am, in case they try to kill me for what's next. So you say, "Mr. Wagner, you escaped with an inch from your heart." and because I had no bullets and whatever, and I'm obviously discussing with them, and at one point, a British, voice speaks and says, before you came off, your Alps in Andes in South America, the world was fine. Why is it the moment you flushed out of the Andes, we almost have a nuclear war, France is almost destroyed, Germany's almost destroyed, and we got a bunch of dead world leaders in the Vatican area. And I say, well, with all due respect, unfortunately, if I would have stayed in the Andes, like I originally wanted to, I think the French gentleman to your left might have a vacant seat here right now. And eventually they start saying, well, what we're going to do is we're going to identify, all the people who died, who are, obviously in this big cabal thing, and we're going to send them to you. We need you to lead an American team to figure out how deep this goes, because this is not good. And we need to have the world stabilized. We can't have them thinking that they can't trust their government, and we need you to show that you can trust the government. So I say, well, is my objective to show the world that they can trust their governments, or is it to go wherever everything leads? To go where it leads. I'm game.